Ancient Greek democracy, mainly in Athens, developed from oligarchies into direct citizens' government. Solon's reforms expanded political participation, but true democracy emerged under Cleanthes, who created the Council of 500 and the Assembly. Pericles further strengthened democracy by introducing paid public officers. Here only male citizens could participate, excluding women, slaves, and non-citizens. Democracy declined after the Peloponnesian War and Macedonian conquest, but left lasting impact on modern governance, emphasizing citizens' involvement and public debate. Ancient Rome's democracy began as a monarchy, but transitioned into a Roman Republic in 509 BC. The Republic was a mix of democracy and oligarchy, where citizens, mainly wealthy men, voted for representative. Power was shared between the Senate and the elected official like consul. The plebeians gained more rights over time, including the ability to elect tribunes to represent them. However, by the 1st century before Christ, corruption and power struggles led to the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire under August in 27 BC, ending Rome's experiment with democracy. The history of democracy and the Magna Carta is deeply intertwined. Democracy originated from ancient Greece, enveloped over centuries as society sought to limit absolute power. One key milestone was the Magna Carta signed in 1215 by King John of England. This document, forced upon him by rebellious barons, established the principle that the king was not above the law. It introduced ideas like due process, fair trials, and limited monarchy, laying the foundation for constitutional government. Though not a democratic document itself, the Magna Carta influenced later democratic movements, including the English Bill of Rights and modern constitutions worldwide. Parliamentary democracy traces its roots to the medieval Europe, particularly England's Magna Carta, which limited monarchical power. The British Parliament involved in the 13th and the 17th centuries, solidifying representative governments. The Glorious Revolution established parliamentary sovereignty, influencing global system. The model spread across Europe into 19th century, notably in the UK, Germany, and Scandinavia. The Westminster system became a template for former British colonies. Today, parliamentary democracy operates in countries like Canada, India, and Australia, where elected legislators hold executive power accountable. This system ensures political stability, coalition governments, and checks on authority. The history of democracy in America begins with the American Revolution, when the 13 colonies rebelled against the British rule, demanding self-governance. Inspired by the Enlightenment ideals, their founding fathers drafted the Declaration of Independence in 1776, asserting natural rights and popular sovereignty. After victory, the USA Constitution established the Democratic Republic, balancing power among branches of government. Initially, voting rights were limited to white, property-owning men, but democracy expanded over time. The 19th and the 20th centuries saw key reforms: the abolition of slavery, women's suffrage, and the civil rights movement, securing equal voting rights. Today, American democracy continues to evolve, shaped by challenges and reforms. The French Revolution challenged absolute monarchy and spread democratic ideals. Inspired by Enlightenment ideas, the people overthrew King Louis XVI, abolished feudal privileges, and declared the rights of man. In 1792, France became a republic, but the reign of terror led to mass execution. By 1799, Napoleon seized power, ending the revolution while influencing future democratic movements. The history of democracy is closely tied to the expansion of voting rights. Early democracies, like Athens and ancient Greece, were limited to a small group of male citizens. The Roman Republic also had voting, but only for selected classes. In the modern era, democracy expanded with revolutions such as the American and the French Revolutions, promoting broader participation. In the 19th and the 20th centuries, many countries extended suffrage beyond wealthy landowners to all men than to women. Civil rights movement fought racial voting barriers like in the USA. Today, voting rights continue to evolve, with debates over accessibility and fairness shaping democracy worldwide. Democracy in the 21st century faces numerous challenges despite its global expansion. While many nations uphold democratic values, populism, authoritarian tendencies, and political polarization threaten stability. The rise of digital technology has transformed political discourse, enabling misinformation, cyber interference, and the erosion of trust in institutions. Economic inequality, climate change, and global crises such as pandemics and conflicts further strain democratic governments. Additionally, declining voter participation and the questioning of electoral legitimacy weaken democratic process. To survive and adapt, democracy must reinforce institutions, promote media literacy, and ensure inclusive governance to address contemporary threats. The rise of liberal democracies and decolonization are deeply connected. After World War II, Western nations, especially the US and Britain, promoted democracy as alternative to fascism and communism. At the same time, anti-colonial movements gained momentum, demanding self-rule and human rights. Former colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean transited to independence, often adopting democratic system model on their colonizer. However, many faced a challenge like political instability and authoritarianism. Despite this global wave of decolonization expanded the idea that democracy is a universal right influencing modern governments worldwide. So after World War II, democratic growth surged as many nations rebelled with a focus on political stability, economic development, and human rights. The US and its allies promoted democracy to counter Soviet influence, leading to spread of democratic institutions. Western Europe, Japan, and late former authoritarian states. Localization in Africa and Asia brought new democracies, though many struggled with instability.